warm welcome to Aviation this week on Channels Television. I'm Bukola Joe Uketumbi. Air travel remains safe, no thanks to findings from past accident investigations. The accident investigation process is laid out by the standards and recommended practices in an international agreement called Annex 13 of the Convention on International Civil Aviation. The conclusion of the process results in safety recommendations, and the impact of this on our industry in Nigeria is our focus. Then, the Boeing MAX aircraft may not see the sky soon. Get to know why. Our background report rolls up next.
Air travel today remains safe, thanks in part to accident investigation. Findings from accident investigators paved the way for important safety improvements in aviation. Like the changes to pilot duty and rest requirements that address the pilot fatigue problem that was a factor in so many accident reports. These changes are preventing accidents and saving lives. An aviation accident is defined by the Convention on International Civil Aviation, Annex 13, as an occurrence associated with the operation of an aircraft, which takes off between the time any person boards the aircraft with the intention of flight until all such persons have disembarked. Where a person is fatally or seriously injured, the aircraft sustains damage or structural failure, or the aircraft is missing or is completely inaccessible. If the aircraft is destroyed or severely damaged so that it must be written off, it is further defined as a whole loss accident. Annex 13 further defines an aviation incident as an occurrence other than an accident associated with the operation of an aircraft which affects or could affect the safety of operation. The accident investigation process is fairly simple on paper, but can be complicated by intangible things like politics, legal action, and international differences, as well as physical demands such as rough terrain or post-accident damage from weather.
There is no little accident that you can say this one is the most challenging, though you have issues, especially in gathering information, in management of information, writing the reports, in presentation of what actually happened to the public. It has to be done by the rules.
There are many parties and factors involved in aircraft accident investigation. As outlined according to international protocol, air crash investigations are handled by the country in which a crash occurs. In the United States, the National Transportation Safety Board is the government agency that investigates all major aviation accidents and does offer help to other countries. Here in Nigeria, the Accident Investigation Bureau is the government agency that investigates all major aviation accidents. Its purpose is to explain accidents and provide safety recommendations. In the 10 years of its operations, it has released 120 safety recommendations. In 2017 alone, 10 accident reports were released with 35 recommendations.
According to the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, recommendations from major accidents which occurred 13 years ago are impacting on the industry, especially in weather-related cases.
Since the crashes that we had, major crashes in 2005 to 2006, there has been accident investigation recommendation. One, the training of wind shear should be made compulsory for all ab initio training and also for recurrent training for pilots flying commercial aircraft, and that has been implemented. Also, there's a requirement for the aircraft to have on board forward-looking, that is predictive wind shear alerting system, because we found out in the course of those investigations wind shear was a major factor, and that also has been implemented. Also, the meteorological agency has put in place, as part of the compliance, the ground-based weather radar and also the low-level wind shear alerting systems.
That's because safety recommendations are as critical as the investigation itself, as it is the lever used to effect safety changes and improvements in the aviation industry.
Our guest insists safety recommendations from the investigation process and its constant review are critical to air safety.
Accidents, incidents will happen. It's normal, unfortunately. As long as you have human beings operating these machines, there are bound to be errors. And the whole essence of what we do is to prevent. I'll give you an example. Like the Dana crash, the first Dana crash, that's how everybody died, 2012. There are safety recommendations targeted at Dana itself as an airline, on training of crew, CRM, crew resource management. There is one that targeted at Boeing, the aircraft manufacturer. The FAA released a bulletin that all operators of this aircraft should do X, Y, Z. Is to prevent future occurrence. That comes from safety recommendation. Say training, you must train up to this category. They must go through these checks before you release them. NCA should ensure this, that. That is the kind of what we call safety recommendation. Company A, this happened, this was the reason why it happened, but please, to prevent future occurrence, make sure it is checked by 2 people, not 1 anymore. Things like that. So safety recommendations are very, very critical to air safety because it's for the flying public. This is the whole essence of what we do here. Implementation rate, so far it's almost 85%. Yes, we are safe. You see, what's made the number drop to 85%? I'll give you an example. There is an airline called there was an operator called G2. It's a construction company. They operated an helicopter. The company is no longer in existence. But there was safety recommendation targeted at the company. So, the company is dead. There's no way you can. So, that affected the number as well. Somehow, because the way we do our accident investigation, we make sure we carry all the stakeholders along to ensure our safety recommendations are real, not just safety recommendation for safety recommendation's sake. And we discussed this. Like the recent Dana crash, we invited 2 of their members to be part of the download to hear themselves what transpired between their pilot and the controller. So we make sure we make everybody that is necessary be part of our investigation. So by the time we issue the safety recommendations, yes, we don't have power to enforce. You too, you want to be safe. We don't have a choice. We must work together because we represent the state. Ours is to come up with safety recommendations, and we pass all this to NCA. Sometimes we bring in NCA to be part of our investigation. Sometimes, if we think there is need for it, there's stakeholder in this, and when we come up with these safety recommendations, we pass this on to NCA. There is actually a joint committee between NCA and AIB that looks into these safety recommendations as from the enforcement part of point of view. So there must be a strong collaboration, and there has always been, and there is a strong collaboration between NCA and AIB recommendations. Yes, we have NCA, who is the regulator, always ensuring that they keep to it. Because sometimes you can have a safety recommendation that says, make sure there is your checkman pilot goes through recertification maybe every 2 years. But some airline may say, okay, there may be an issue, okay, my check pilot this time maybe once in 3 years. Yeah, they may have complied initially, but over time, they may sleep. That is why NCA needs to be constantly on it. This is why we cannot say these safety recommendations are okay, we've complied, and then everybody goes to sleep. It is a constant, we have to be doing a constant review.
Medview Airlines has said that Hajj operations remains a core part of its business. This aspect continually shows up its capital base, despite the airline's recent challenges.
Hajj operation has been another major window, which, to the grace of God, with God Almighty, our President Muhammad Buhari, signed 2 Nigerian carriers and 1 from the other, Saudi Arabia, to participate in the Ali for Pilgrim in 2019. That's a very, very business opportunity for Medview to use that gold mine to improve on the inflow, which also help in our turnover, creating about 35%. So we hope by the grace of God in a couple of months or weeks, with the support of financial institutions helping us to bring back 1 or 2 of our aircraft, we have a complete fleet of domestic aircraft on our own.
The United States Federal Aviation Administration has identified a new potential risk that aircraft manufacturer Boeing must address on its 737 MAX before the grounded jet can return to service. The risk was discovered during a simulator test last week, and it's not yet clear if the issue can be addressed with a software upgrade or will require a more complex hardware fix. The FAA did not elaborate on the latest setback for Boeing, which has been working to get its best-selling airplane back in the air following a worldwide grounding in March in the wake of 2 deadly crashes within 5 months. The new issue means Boeing will not conduct a certification test until July the 8th at the earliest, and the FAA will spend at least 2 to 3 weeks reviewing the results before deciding whether to return the plane to service. American Airlines Group and Southwest Airlines cancelled flights through early September as a result of the grounding. United Airlines has also announced it's removing its MAX flights from its schedule through September the 3rd. The Mexican president has said work to expand an airport at the Santa Lucia military base meant to serve the capital will begin this month following a series of delays. President Lopez Obrador introduced the project after canceling the construction of a $13 billion partly built airport in October, and has at least twice before announced imminent construction start dates that did not happen. Speaking at a celebration of the 1-year anniversary of his landslide election, the president said construction at Santa Lucia will begin soon.
This month, we will start construction work on the General Felipe Angeles Airport in Santa Lucia Air Force Base. It has been delayed. For the start of this project, we have everything. The start of this project has been delayed because our adversaries wanted to hold it back with a shower of legal proceedings.
Verdaderamente fecundo. The decision to cancel the airport project to the east of Mexico City, which would have been its predecessor's biggest public works project, shocked markets and sparked a major sell-off in Mexican financial assets. The body of a man believed to have been a stowaway who fell from the landing gear of a Kenya Airways flight on its way into Heathrow Airport has been found in a garden in London. London's Metropolitan Police said they were called to a home in Clapham in South London after the body was found. A post-mortem examination is due to be carried out and the man has not been identified yet. In a statement, police said they believed the man was a stowaway and had fallen from the landing gear, adding that some items, including a bag and supplies, had been found once the plane had landed. When Aviation This Week returns, our interesting features are next. Do join us again.